Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? Okay, so on this episode, we're gonna talk about and review Troye Sivan's third studio album titled "Something to Give Each Other." Now, for those of you who may not know Troye Sivan, he's best known for hits like "I'm So Tired" with Lauv, "Youth," and "Dance to This" featuring Ariana Grande. Now, prior to the album release, we had two singles, which were Rush and Got Me Started. And on the day of the album release, we had the third single, which was One of Your Girls. Now, the album itself is 32 minutes and 45 seconds long, so it's kind of on the shorter side of a listening session, so you're gonna breeze right through it. Now, starting with the first track, Rush. This is the lead single. This song is quite radio and club friendly, which makes perfect sense why Troye kicked this new era off with this energetic track. This is a strong opening track, and also the production here is pretty stellar, and this is a house pop banger. And the song is about the feelings you get when you're face to face with your crush or even a new face that has caught your attention. You feel a mixture of jitters and butterflies in your stomach as you wonder how to approach them. And I mean, this is a pretty relatable song because we all go through this. Like we can be at a club or like at a house party or something, and someone catches your eye and you're feeling all these things, and but you don't know how to proceed. You don't know how to approach them, but you're just like taken aback by everything that you're feeling for this person. Now, oh, and I forgot to mention, this is the first of my highlights on the album. Now, track number 2, What's the Time Where You Are? Another one of my highlights. Troye keeps the momentum going with the second track, and this song is about talking to someone who is at a long distance from you and making the biggest of efforts to keep the spark and conversation going, no matter how silly the topic may be. And yeah, this is another relatable song because, you know, whenever you have whenever you're talking to someone, in this case it's at a long distance, but it doesn't have to be someone who's at a long distance from you. Like, it doesn't have to be someone who lives on the other side of the world. It can be someone that lives in your own city, but maybe you don't see too often, you haven't seen that often, and when you're talking, through text, the conversation can get stale. But if you really like this person, as Troye describes in this song, if you really like this person, then you're gonna make the biggest of efforts to keep the conversation going, to maintain that spark, not let it fizzle out. And yeah, now track number 3, One of Your Girls. This is the third single, as I previously mentioned. And in this song, Troye opens up about the experiences he's had with men who claim to be straight. In case you don't know, Troye Sivan is a gay man himself. So they flirt with him and seek him out, but because of their orientation, they make him keep everything between them a secret. Troye looks back on all the times he said yes to these experiments, wondering why he would expose himself to that when all it does is leave him heartbroken when the guys freak out and call it quits. The robotic delivery in the chorus perfectly captures how Troye would feel when engaging in these experiments. Okay, so this song is quite interesting lyrically because, as I already described, Troye being a gay man, has had these experiences. So, in the case of this song, if it can be also like with girls who are into girls, that someone or several people are hitting you up, and they wanna link up and whatnot, but they're not. They claim to be straight, but so I don't know, like you like the attention they're giving you, or you find it interesting that someone that claims to be heterosexual but is in fact gay or lesbian or bisexual, whatever it may be. They're seeking you out, and you know that you shouldn't go for that, but you do anyways. But as in the case of this song, then the person may at one point they eventually get scared, of doing this, because it's not in their nature, well, in their supposed nature. So what happens is that you just end up heartbroken, and you feel like kind of like a robot, like I was talking about the robotic delivery in the chorus. If you hear the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you feel like a robot because you're just saying yes to these experiments when you know that it's a bad idea, it's bad news, but you like that attention that you thought you wouldn't get given your orientation. So yeah. Now, moving on to track number 4, In My Room. So this song features an artist called Guitarrica de la Fuente. I wasn't familiar with this artist. However, I didn't like what he did in this song. I didn't think he added anything valuable to the song. And this song is about being by yourself in your own space and sitting with your own thoughts, which are all about your crush. It feels like a teenage kind of thing to do, a teenage kind of infatuation, one that you can't really put into words, but that makes you feel all kinds of ways. Okay, so this song is in a similar vein, I would say, to Rush, the opening track, because it's talking about, what you go through when you have a crush. But in this case, in the case of Rush, it's talking about being in a public space and wanting to approach your crush and feeling all the feels. But in the case of this song, In My Room, as the title suggests, it's when you're by yourself and you're thinking about your crush. You're still, like with Rush, you're feeling, nice things, jitters. Jitters is kind of nerves, but you feel butterflies in your stomach and such. So, and you can't really describe what you're feeling, but you know damn well what it is that you're feeling. And it's kind of like, as I said, it's very, like, if you're an adult now, it's very reminiscent of a teenage kind of crush. So yeah. Now, track number 5, Still Got It. The production gets a little unpleasant towards the end of the song. However, putting that aside, the song it's a pretty good song. It's pretty well balanced. And this is a song about bumping into an ex and noticing that they've still got everything that made you fall in love with them in the first place. But now the harsh reality is that you barely greet them as if they were an old acquaintance, rather than someone with whom you shared special memories with. So, I mean, yeah, if you have been in at least one relationship, then this song is going to be relatable to you because you know people go through it. I mean, you you bump into an ex with whom someone who you thought you had no feelings for anymore, given that like what went down at the end of the relationship and how it ended. But when you see them again, you realize that like you realize just what made you fall in love with that person in the first place, and they still got it, and you still see them that way, even though you may not want to, and it's not wise for you to do so. You still see that they have everything that made you fall in love with them. So, but the reality, as I said, is that now you barely even say hi to each other. So it makes, the whole situation more rough. That you can't really you don't really have that connection with that person anymore. On the contrary, it's like they're a stranger to you, which is highly relatable. Now, track number 6, Can't Go Back Baby. This is a song about a relationship that has ran its course, one that didn't end on the best of terms, kind of like what we were talking about just now with Still Got It, the previous track. You wish you could go back to when you thought you knew this person, but things are different now. You're really hurt by how things panned out, so much so that this ex-lover of yours is pretty much dead to you. Yet you wish you didn't have to feel this way about that person. You miss them despite how everything turned out between you two, but you also know that you're better off without them in your life. So much so that you manage to have a good level of self-love to fill the void that person left. So, yeah, as I said, this is kind of a similar story to the previous track. But in the case of this song, it really is that you ended up really hurt by how things ended with that person. So that person is dead to you. But despite all that, you wish you could go back to when you thought you knew this person before, they showed you their true colors. And given that this person is dead to you now, you still wish that you didn't have to feel this way about that person. You still have a soft side to that person, and you miss them despite how everything turned out. But you're also like, I mean, I'm better off without that person. I don't need that person in my life. So, and above all, when you have a good amount of self-love, you don't need really anyone to be happy. Now, moving on to track number 7, Got Me Started. This is the second single. This song samples Shooting Stars by the Bag Raiders, which is a song that was used a lot in memes back in 2017, I think it was. I remember that the music video for Swish Swish by Katy Perry featuring Nicki Minaj, in the music video, they used that sample. Like Katy is like flying through space, because the meme was that someone was flying through space and they used this song to, capture that. So anyways, this sample, I feel that it doesn't fit in this song. It's kind of out of place. So much so that this sample is the only thing is the only thing keeping this song from being a standout of the album. And this song is about being mesmerized by someone after being emotionally unavailable for some time following a devastating breakup. This newfound spark helps you remember and go back to being your old self, well, your usual self. This person is making you feel things that you haven't been able to feel since then and making you want to live in the moment. And yeah, I mean, the song is pretty relatable as well because it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have been in at least one relationship. It can be that you dated someone and they treated you horribly and they left you in a pretty rough place, in a pretty dark place. And you feel like emotionally dead for some time. And it takes a certain kind of person and a certain kind of attraction to said person to really wake up that emotional availability in you. And as soon as that happens, you feel back to your usual self, as I said, and this person now gives you the ability to seize the moment, live in the present, and not, dread being, crushed by the last person you dated. Now, track number 8, Silly. This is one of the weaker sounding tracks on the album, yet it's not a bad song by any means. And this song is about still having feelings for someone that you thought was a thing of the past. There's something about them that pulls you right back in. However, you resist these resurfaced feelings and want nothing more than to put them to rest. This song tells a similar story to that of Still Got It. So yeah, as I said, the song talks about having, you still like someone who you thought was, you thought that ship had already sailed, that you would no longer feel attracted to that person, but there's something in them that just pulls you back in, but you don't want to be attracted to this person anymore. You just want to forget about them. But I mean, it's hard. There are people who leave a mark on you, really impact you in some deep way that it's hard to move past them, move on from them. Now, track number 9, Honey. The production here is pretty hit or miss, and this song is about a person with whom you feel really good to be around, yet can't seem to manage to come clean with them and tell them just how it is they make you feel. You want to see this through, and you intend to get to know this new person. So this song, talks about, now that you moved on from a previous relationship or a situationship, whatever it may be, you find someone new that makes you feel really good. You feel really good around them. You just want to be with them all the time, but you don't know how to put it into words. You don't know how to communicate it to them. But with how they make you feel, how good they make you feel, you want to give this a shot. You want to get to know this person and not let them, just keep going with their lives and not get to know you. And lastly, we have track number 10, How to Stay With You, the last of my highlights on the album. This is a strong closing track. This is your run-of-the-mill, purposeful, meaningful, and heartfelt closing track. What I mean by this is that a closing track, as with the opening track, as with an opening track, can go one of two ways. It can fall really flat on its face and just not be a good ending to an album. But then there is a case of this album and this closing track that does just what it needs to do to put a bow, the cherry on top of this album. It does have a good story to tell. It's filled with heart, with meaning. It has a purpose here. It's not just here to end the album and that's it. It really is a song to tell an ending to a story. This is Troy's best vocal performance in the album. The instrumentation here is incredible. And this is a song about someone you met at the right place but at the wrong time. What I mean by this is that this person is leaving soon, putting the whole relationship in jeopardy. You want to continue in this relationship and wonder how to manage to stay with this person, yet you fear that that's simply not possible, that's simply not feasible. Your feelings for this person aside, what you dread most about ending the relationship is going back to square one. Going back to the drawing board. Just when you had finally found someone truly special. Someone and something truly special. And yeah, I mean, the song can also be pretty relatable to a lot of people because, we can meet someone and everything is going really well, and then they hit you with the hard news that they're leaving soon. They're not gonna be around anymore. Unless you want to do the whole long distance thing, which is pretty hard. That it's over. It's pretty much over. And you feel really bad about it. You feel bummed because, this person is truly someone worthwhile, They're really special to you. And you don't want to let this simmer out. You don't want to see this end, at least just not yet. So you're wondering, where do we go from here? As the title suggests, you're wondering, how do I stay with you? Okay, so my final overall thoughts on the album are that this album becomes a better listening experience. Well, a better experience with each listening session. This album's quality is kind of inconsistent, and this album had both a strong start and finish. And I mean, the quality being inconsistent, what I mean by that more specifically is that's more on the production side of things, because lyrically this album is pretty interesting. It has pretty interesting stories to tell. So it's more on the sonic side of things. Sonically, this album could sound, somewhat better. And okay, when comparing this album to the rest of Troy's discography, is this album Troy's best body of work to date? No. For me, Bloom, Troy's second album, is his best body of work to date. So going briefly through his discography, we have his debut EP, Troye, with an X. This is a solid debut body of work, and this is a pretty heavy electropop sound. So that's what we were introduced to with Troye, with that sound, which does carry over to the rest of his discography. Then we have his debut album, Blue Neighborhood, and This is a pretty considerable step up in quality from the previous EP. This is when Troye really got into the mainstream with Youth, one of his biggest hits to date. Then we have Bloom, his second album, and here Troye keeps the momentum going with another strong project. Then we have In a Dream, his second EP, a pretty well-rounded EP which was released during the pandemic. And that brings us to Something to Give Each Other, his third studio album, which we just reviewed. So, what score do I give Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan? I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, guys, that was my review for Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on social media for more daily content. It's at Pop and Bop on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads, and Pop and Bop on Facebook and YouTube. This has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez, and thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.